So the Steadfast L was really kind of a passion project for me. I came up with the first Steadfast. It was great, but I thought the design could do more. Got together with Vic. Let's take the Steadfast and go in a different direction with it. It's already a successful design, so let's do something more with it. Kept all the same dimensions. It's the same handle. It's the same width blade. It's the same thickness blade, but we took it out to 7 inches. And what that really let us do is it let us create something special, an extremely neutral balance, something that's extremely fast, fits very well in that combat fighter utility category. It really is just a very solid performer.
Hey guys, Joe Steele here, and thank you for joining me on the Steel Mindset. So that was a designer spotlight with the designer of this knife here, the Steadfast L. He is the designer of this knife, also the original Steadfast, and obviously the producers of the knife. I know you hear me saying it a million times, that brought this knife near perfection from Work Tough Gear, which they always do on pretty much all their knives. They did a great job on this knife. They did a great job in kind of improving this knife and taking a knife the design was excellent, and they kind of just added a little improvement to make it even better and to just basically give the knife and more capability on top of that and giving it like kind of that next level type of feel by adding to what they added to this knife. Now, my approach with this knife, I felt like needed to be a little different. On top of the fact that just you get bored of doing the same thing over and over again. But honestly, this knife, it's not strictly a bushcrafting knife. It's not a knife that you're going to basically be banging against a stump. It's not a chopper. This is definitely personal defense type of knife. This is a knife that I honestly would probably give to a soldier. Rely on a knife. If he had one knife to kind of rely on, this is that type of knife. This is your means of basically surviving, protecting yourself, living off the land. This is that type of knife. But in its heart, it's definitely a defense type of knife. It's an offensive type of knife. The handle, everything about it screams basically a slicing and cutting type of knife. But I'm going to show you that aside from the fact of how the knife looks, the knife does have the capability of being a on-the-field defense utility type of knife. It can do a little bit of everything. I felt like I really wanted to test the penetration. I did a lot of stabbing with this knife, a lot of stabbing to see how the grip was with this knife, because there is a point to it, because I am going to be comparing this knife to another knife by request of one of my subscribers. So as a supplement, guys, the knife that I wanted to compare the Steadfast L to, because it is a similar knife to this new edition K-Bar 1310. I believe it's called the Slabby 1310. Okay, similar type of knife, fighting utility type of knife. They're very similar in size, similar in a lot of things. But let's see how they go head to head. Once I do a full review on the K-Bar, and I do love this knife. I love the balance of this thing too. We'll see how it goes against head to head on the Steadfast L. That video will be coming soon. So I wanted to kind of take this through a lot of stabbing motions, a lot of motions where I'm going to be slashing and cutting to see how the handle feels and how it feels to take that reverse grip and the front grip and the saber grip and the grip basically with the new jimping that they added here. In terms of a demonstration, I gave the knife what I think the knife was deserving to have. In terms of the best way that I can show this knife off to you, I wanted to show you the original Steadfast and the new Steadfast L. Now, the Steadfast L, the L may be meaning large or larger or something like that, or longer. It means something or the other, but it's definitely a bigger blade, a bigger knife. Now, what changes did he make? It looks as if the handle, as he said, is exactly the same. The thickness in the spine is just about the same, except for basically the longer ridge here, obviously because it's a longer knife. But everything else, the comfort of the knife is exactly the same. Incredibly enough, this knife, being a little bit longer, feels even better balanced than the shorter knife. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what kind of witchcraft, Vic is doing, because I originally thought that they should have maybe increased the handle size because they increased the blade size, but they just kind of made it perfectly balanced. I mean, it's balanced probably at around the beginning of the handle. The original Steadfast has the same balance as this knife, okay, with the longer blade. So I don't know how Work Tough Gear, how Mr. Vic does it, but he balances this knife perfectly. This thing is incredibly balanced. Like he says, it is incredibly fast. What did he change on this knife? Honestly, not much. I mean, he increased the blade size. Obviously, you have a 7-inch blade. You can see the blade size is increased. So you have a longer reach, a longer, really defined point. This happens to be the same model. I know he has about 4 different models. This happens to be the same model with the satin, two-tone satin finish, which is gorgeous, by the way. And the orange G10 liners with the G10 handle, with the light texturing here, the tactile texturing that you can really feel this in your hand and feel very comfortable holding it. He added the jimping here, which is an added finish, which you didn't have on the first one. So added that jimping there, so means you can choke up on the knife and do some wood crafting, survival off the land, you know, make a fire, skin an animal. You have that jimping there where you can choke up on a knife a little bit, which you'll hear a little bit more later in the video about Calvin's overall feel about working with Tuff gear and the subtle changes that they made to this design that he really, really loves as a knife maker. Be able to do more with. So Steadfast, better Steadfast. So if you had the original and you're thinking about the L, if you like the longer version, I mean, the 7 inch is still in my sweet spot. My sweet spot in terms of an optimal knife is anywhere from 4 to 7 inch. So 7 inch is still my sweet spot. Of course, we like the big knives. We like the big bangers. Those are fun, end of days type of thing. We love those knives. But in everyday practicality type of thing, my sweet spot is 4 to 7 inch. So this still falls into that sweet spot of mine at around 7 inches. I love this blade size. I got to tell you guys, I really had fun with this knife. This knife is definitely a slasher. I wanted to see the speed of the knife. If I was to be using it for a defense type of option or something like that. I'm not a knife fighter. I do my best, but I wanted to show you how quick this thing is in the hand. I mean, listen, the sharpness level of this knife, if you saw my original Steadfast video, I was just shouting to the hills how sharp that was. And this is equally as sharp. The K329 steel, the Bowler steel, Work Tuff Gear has that dialed in, man. They are literally professionals on using that steel. Saber grind with a micro convex edge, absolutely freaking perfect. Add that steel in with the micro convex, I think is the perfect knife edge for me. It's about 58 to 60 HRC. If you want to see all the actual specs of the knife, I'm going to put them in the description or written down for you. The handle being basically at around 5 inches outer and around 4.1 inches. If you add basically the grip that you can kind of hold it down here, you have about 4.1. But if not, you have about 4 inches here, which is pretty comfortable for most size hands, as was the Steadfast. And again, very balanced and very light. Couple the sharp edge with the lightness of the knife and how quickly you're able to move it around and basically get it into different positions is just fantastic. And I tried to do a lot of cutting, guys. You could see basically cutting through the polyurethane rope, doing the drag cuts and all the things that I'm doing in this video here. I just want to show you how keen and sharp the edge is when you're getting it from Work Tuff Gear, and it stays that way. It's got pretty good edge retention because I did put it through some rough materials throughout the video. You saw the sandblast hose, cutting through the sandblast hose really well, push cuts, thin cuts, as good as I would want basically a good quality sharp cutting instrument you would want it to be. It did a great job as you would want it to be out of a quality knife. Out of pretty much any Work Tuff Gear knife that I test in this fashion, they're all pretty much doing a great job cutting through the harder materials like the sandblast hose and some rubber tires and stuff like that. So you got a great sharp edge to start. That is without a doubt with this knife, constant with all of Work Tuff Gear knives. Now, I really wanted to do the stabbing test because I wanted to get that reverse grip. I wanted to hold it here and hold it here. I wanted to see how comfortable it was in my hand. You have the ramp here that your hand is not going to go into the blade. No problem there. And it's perfectly comfortable gripping it. I wanted to see how it felt and if there was any slippage whatsoever, if there was any discomfort doing a lot of stabbing. Obviously, you wanted to see I'm trying to see the penetration because you have that unsharpened swedge here, which makes it perfect for a penetration type of knife. That's what it's designed for. One of the things it's designed for. So I wanted to use it for what it was designed for. So I did a whole shitload of stabbing. You can see I did it through the cardboard. I don't know, like 13 plies of cardboard duct tape together that I processed the other day. cutting through it. I think it went through it for a couple of times. Tried the lesser stack of cardboard. I did as much penetration and stabbing as possible to see the comfort level of it in the hand, if there's any pain, any discomfort whatsoever. Then I wanted to kind of see if I can penetrate into cut up rubber tire, like a car tire. I cut up, I think it's about 4 or 5 plies there. So I kind of stabbed that as well, and it got through it pretty good. So it just also just see if there's any damage on the point. If the point held up, you know, we're not drilling holes with this thing. It is a fine point. I won't call it a reinforced point, but it's still got a little meat behind the point. So I don't think there should be any problem in doing normal penetration stabbing tests, which is what I did throughout the whole video. And at this point, I did the review. I did the demos, and the point is absolutely fine. No rolls, no bends or anything like that. And that's always a plus. You want to see that out of a quality knife. And then I went and tried to also cut into the rubber tire. And I got to tell you, this thing, I can't emphasize enough what a great cutter this knife was, as the original Steadfast knife was. You see how it's just slicing through that rubber tire like as if it's slicing through paper. And I gotta tell you, cutting through rubber tire, slicing it that fine and that easily is not an easy task. You need a good, sharp, keen edge, a good cutting profile, and that's exactly what you have in the Steadfast. And I was surprised, but not surprised that I was able to kind of slice through the tire really well. Just a testament to the design and how good this knife really is. You know, and the stabbing didn't stop there. I obviously had to stab a car tire, and that is the ultimate pressure on the hand, basically stabbing the car tire a couple of times. It went through first cut, absolutely no issue, and that's not a common thing. Not every knife can get through the car tire at the first puncture, so it did. First puncture, absolutely no issue. I was puncturing the tire over and over and over again, cutting through it a little bit as well throughout this demo. And I gotta tell you, there was not really, I wouldn't call it discomfort when you hold it here. A little bit of discomfort basically on your thumb on this part here. I think if I kind of choked up on it a little bit more, I wouldn't feel it, but a little bit. But when I kind of held it right here, I didn't feel any discomfort, and I didn't feel that my hand was slipping. You got some really, really good tactile feel here. It's not too much where it's going to hurt your hand. It's just perfect. It's a perfectly soft but grippy type of feel on here. So I think he did a great job on the G10 as with the original Steadfast, and I'm glad they didn't change that. So it felt good basically doing the penetration. Not the best I've ever felt, but it felt good. I didn't feel any considerable pain or anything like that, but it just, you had a good sure grip, and that's really the important thing. Couple more stabs here, stabbing through some old sneakers, and it did that pretty good. These are just fun things to do to kind of just further like pressure on the point and the edge and things like that. And then I just kind of cut through the sole or the rubber, the thick rubber of the sneaker, and it's still slicing through that extremely well. So just again, testament to the sharp edge, testament to the edge that Mr. Vic put on here, and the geometric of the knife, the convex edge and the saber grind. Fantastic. I mean, such a great slicing knife. Even cutting through all those hard materials, it's still slicing through both sneakers pretty well. In fact, the second sneaker I was cutting through, basically, it went into like a plastic metal core, and it kind of just gave it a little bit of a micro abrasion, but not even anything you could see with the naked eye. The only way I can feel that is if I run my nail against it, and it was just very, very, very faint there, and it's something that even a strop is going to take that out. So absolutely no damage to the edge whatsoever. It did a really good job, and that's inside that sneaker was a really hard plastic metal material. So, and I was cutting into it. So I really just got a micro abrasion that you can't even see under a magnifying glass. You can only feel it with your fingernail going through it. But other than that, the edge is absolutely perfect. Now, guys, this is a knife. This is the only knife you have. You need to survive off the land. You need to make a fire. You need to hunt. This, like any knife of this size from Work Tuff Gear, it is made and is capable of doing all of your wood processing. Now, listen, is this a batoning knife? It's not exactly a batoning knife. I did do some light batoning just to show you how the construction of it held up. Obviously, it was going to be fine. I didn't do some really, really heavy batoning. I did kind of some light batoning to see how it would hold up, and it held up fine. So if you wanted to do any light batoning with this knife, leaving a little bit heavier, it's going to be perfectly fine. Construction of all of Work Tuff Gear knives are all made to be used rough and tough. They're all made to work for you. Batoning, make up some light sticks. Then you go back and you carve up the wood, giving the jimping there and being able to choke up on a knife. I was able to kind of carve up the wood and make up the feather sticks and do whatever I need to do in different fashions of holding the wood in different ways to be able to process wood so I can make up a fire. So it kind of handled that all fine. Utility knife end of the knife. You have the defense, you have your basically your cutter, your slasher, your stabber, and then you have your end of basically being able to be a wood crafting type of knife. And you have a little bit of that into this knife that you can use it for that. Now understand, you do have a spine here which has a 90-degree bevel. You can strike a ferro rod over here, which you can see. And I was able to kind of slice that up a little bit, and then I was able to turn it around and just carve it up a little bit so you can make up that fat wood dust, okay, to assist in kind of sparking up a fire. So you can see basically with a ferro rod, it can make sparks. Now, just so you know, I do need a new ferro rod set. If you guys have any recommendations, some good ones out there, because this one's about 5 years old, so it's on its way out. So I actually even used a striker there a couple times. You have a good ferro rod, this will make sparks, and you can make a fire with this. He did add that 90-degree spine there to be able to process the fat wood, make up the dust, and also strike a ferro rod if you need to make a fire. Survival type of aspect. This is the knife that you have. This knife will help you make a fire. It will help you kindle wood, help you feather stick, and help you get a fire going for that animal you just killed and you just skinned and you need to cook and eat. So there you go.
One thing about this knife, and one of the things I appreciate the most about Vic and his team is they do an amazing job. Their execution is just flawless. The balance, the feel of the knife, the feel of the scales, the design, it's something I would be proud to put out in my custom shop for a lot more money. So what you're really getting, the execution of a custom in a production knife at an incredibly affordable price. I can't believe what they do with the pricing on these. So one of the big things that we changed that I really enjoy, the first one had a really minor sharpening choil. And I talked to Vic and I said, I want to get this more in line with my customs. I want folks to be able to have something that they're proud of, something that is a custom level knife, and something that they can afford. So I know this seems like a really minor thing, but what we did is we deepened that sharpening choil. And what that did is it brought it more in line with my customs. It just aids in the overall flow of the knife. It really creates a separation between the handle and the blade, gives you more access to the edge so you can sharpen all the way to the end. So that really is the purpose of that sharpening choil. Vic just does a killer job on his machining, on the scales. You've got such wonderful purchase and grip. You know, you've got this nice guard in the design. Something I do on my customs is I add jimping to the thumb ramp, just to give you a little extra purchase and like a saber grip. Gives your thumb traction, something to grab a hold of so that all the pressure isn't on the guard on your first finger. One of the other things that Vic executed really well that I do on my customs myself are the front of the scales. We have this slight radius here, and then we have the scallops. And what that allows you to do is really choke up on the knife for feather sticking and for things like that. Now, what people need to understand, this is not a chopper. This was never designed or meant to be a chopper.
Guys, I agree with Calvin 100%. I have done these designer spotlights a couple of times when I try to get the input or the feedback of the designers when they design their knives and how they feel about working with Tuff gear. And I got to tell you, if I speak to Zeke, if we speak to David Pouzan, Calvin, Sean Hamilton with the Asset, I did my latest spotlight, they all say exactly the same thing. It is just a pleasure to work with Mr. Vic. Mr. Vic gives the designers their space to kind of design and do something great. He'll give his input when needed to basically be able to collaborate together to produce a great knife. And they trust Mr. Vic. Mr. Vic knows what he's doing. He knows how to make a good knife. He'll take the designer's designs and he'll make them into something wonderful. And he'll build them in accordance to what the designers want. He'll build them with great quality, with great strength, great toughness. He uses the steel that he has in his inventory, and he does a great job with it. And all the designers say the same thing. They just absolutely love working with Mr. Vic. He's that kind of maker. Little nuances that they add and they do on their work on these knives that basically make them almost like customized type of knives. I mean, that's basically what you're getting. I gotta tell you guys, right now at the airing of this video, there are many in stock. So if you want one, you need to run and get one because they won't be in stock very long. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this L is about 180 bucks. Great price for this knife, guys. You're getting almost like a customized type of knife in terms of the nuances, the jimping, the balance, and the lightness of the knife, the movability, the lightning fast reflexes you could have with this knife, the slicing ability of this knife, the expert treatment of this K329 steel, and just a handsome, beautiful looking knife. I am all about aesthetics, and the aesthetics of this knife are fantastic. I love the two-tone satin finish. I love everything about it. The orange liners. It's just a beautiful, beautiful knife. I love the look of all of their work Tuff Gear knives. So guys, this is the Steadfast. This is the Steadfast L. Both did a great job. I do prefer the L. I felt like I just had more control over it. I love the balance. I love the extra extension of the tip. Whichever one you go with, you're going to do great with. I have a feeling, depending on what you like in terms of your blade size. I like the L. For me, I think it's just a perfect knife in terms of what I use for it in terms of demo. It just did a great job. It's a slasher, it's a fighter, it's a cutter. It's everything you need it to be. It's going to be steadfast, and it's going to be something that you can rely on.
This is a nimble, fast, light knife that you can depend on for your life. Hence the name Steadfast. To stand strong and stand tall and be by your side.
Calvin, I agree 100%. This is Joe Steele. This is the Steadfast L. It's still in stock. Run and get one if you're interested. I love this knife. Another great one from Work Tuff Gear. Mr. Vic, fantastic job. Thank you for sending this over to me for a review via Scab, my brother. Thanks for sending this over to me. And until the next Work Tuff Gear knife, and I got some really good ones coming, not released yet. You'll see them next coming up on your channel. So the next sword or knife review, guys, this is Joe Steele out. Much love and respect to you guys. Be good to each other, and I'll see you soon. Steadfast L, great freaking knife.